whatever was your state of mind, when you arrived in Evermore, had been established in Aurora.
Yes. But this is what you complete as the pies.
But continuing to feed the pies is not the same as establishing the pies. That's correct. I see. So, and you say that she wanted you to feed other people the pie, which you yourself had enjoyed. I see. All right. Now, you say there was some sort of control exercise over you. What are these things which you claim Ms. Ginley had you do that were against your will?
Mostly the fighting of the people.
Which was in Aurora.
Aurora, and sometimes here.
Now, who did you fight that was here? You fought the wolves? Did you inflict damage upon the wolves?
Objection. Fighting and dealing damage are two different things.
I'll rephrase, Your Honor. When you fought the wolves, did you inflict damage upon them? So, since you've been here in Evermore, which of the wolves did you bruise?
I don't know. We're told that they all look the same.
They all look the same to you. I see. And Ms. Ginley told you, go hit the wolves?
Ginley and Gabriel.
Ginley and Gabriel. Now we're up to Gabriel. I see. So, the enslavement which you claim originated not in Evermore, but in Aurora. Your Honor, I would ask that the charge of enslavement be stricken because there's no showing that any enslavement, if it existed, was an offense committed in Evermore.
Objection. She just admitted to being forced to do things while in Evermore, therefore being enslaved while present on British soil.
Your Honor, being told to allegedly inflict a bruise on someone is not a mark of slavery. Those are different things.
Being forced to work under someone's employ without compensation, that's called
In
slavery.
Aurora.
Here, in
In
Evermore.
Aurora.
Ms. Tashi, did it happen in Evermore or not?
Yes, we had to dance a lot and sing a lot. A lot of
Regardless of what a slave does, it's still enslavement.
Your Honor,
we have to give pies to everybody.
you had, and what's the consequence if you did not give a pie to people?
She wouldn't give us pies.
Oh, she wouldn't give you pie. And you wanted pie. You love the pie. They're good, aren't they?
They're delicious.
And you told people they were delicious. And you believed they were delicious. It's not something that you had to be forced to know that pie is not delicious. It's really delicious. You knew they were delicious. And you wanted to eat them and you wanted other people to eat them.
I didn't want to eat them, so I had to do things so that I could.
I see. And singing and dancing, is that not part of your nature?
No.
I see. So, since the banging on the drums by the wolves, have you sung?
Not really.
Not really. Does not really mean not as much as before? Does it mean not at all?
Practically not at all.
Practically not. That's not the same as not at all. Have you sung?
Oh yeah, before.
All right. Have you danced since then? You've never danced since then. I have not observed you dancing since then.
Well, I don't like the rest.
You don't like to dance. All right. Your Honor, I renew my objection. There is nothing that shows a slavery within Evermore. I ask for a ruling on the motion before we proceed further.
What was that?
I ask for a ruling from the judge before we proceed further on the motion to dismiss the charge of enslavement.
On what grounds?
On grounds that the alleged enslavement commenced in Aurora, began there.
It is illegal to possess slaves on British soil.
enslavement is an act
The
of
charge is
creating.
slavery, not enslavement. Possession of slaves, as stated previously.
That's not the charge as it was read. The charge as it was read was enslavement, which is the act of creating a condition of slavery.
We charge as it was read later.
In any event, the condition was not created in
It's a
Evermore.
continuing condition.
Was not created in Evermore. The correction, or if someone brings a slave into Britain, is to free them, not to take claim that the slavery was created against British law when it was created elsewhere.
It's not the charge at all, so go ahead.
I'm seeking a ruling from the court.
The charge of slavery be dropped.
In that case, I have no further questions of this witness.
Your Honor, have evidence of mind control. A witness that can prove that it happened here, or that can give evidence that it happened here.
To answer evidence.
Prosecution calls Sidley to the stand. Come forward. Go up there.
Swear to the witness. Do you swear in vow to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you shall? Very good.
Sidley, what evidence do you have there in your hand? What is it?
So I cannot say on what day it was, your chapter is very confusing. But a while ago, while many of these people in Evermore were under the influence of hives, I was doing some of my rounds of scouting, and I saw that there was a moment in which a letter that was delivered from Ginley triggered some of the people of Evermore to act, try to say it. So, sorry, English is not my first language. So, there was a letter given to these elder wives, and this was eventually delivered to World Walker, to Reddit, to Vela, and the other one, Griner.
Yes.
And upon reading this letter, there was the word delight, delightful, that seemed to trigger them. They grabbed Kyra.
Objection, Your Honor. This rambling narrative is all based upon saying that she observed some consequence of a letter from Ginley, but she has no personal knowledge of the writer of the letter.
Well, it says from Ginley at the bottom.
I see. How familiar are you with her handwriting?
I'm sure that the elder wives.
Yes. But can you identify the difference between something handwritten by Ginley and something handwritten by someone else?
Well, I got it from Vela's back.
Can you identify the difference between Ginley's handwriting and anyone else's handwriting?
Objection. This witness doesn't need to identify it. I can have somebody else do it.
That should be done before she begins testifying to the alleged content of an alleged letter from my client and the alleged observation from a
Maybe if you sit down for 5 minutes, maybe we
of how
can get
people
to it.
behave.
Right. But anyway, they forced Kyra down, and they forced her to eat the pie very much against her will.
Objection.
Objection, my witness.
Objection to the witness is is not testifying to facts of personal knowledge when she keeps referring to they.
As in Vayella and Runner, the people that are in the there.
Is that Ginley?
Who were commanded by a letter from Ginley to do this.
Same objection. There's no predicate for this testimony. No foundation.
I also have sent many road walkers to speak to the elves of light and ask them.
Objection. The witness is not responding to any questions now.
What is your question? You speak to
Objection! Objection! And then I don't know what you need because I don't speak for language, sir.
Permission to address my witness and ask her the questions you so desperately
I'm so sorry.
seek.
I wanted to answer them, but you say so many words.
Proceed with the witness. Sit.
Say, uh-huh,
You're all right.
uh-huh. I just don't know.
Your English is very good.
I don't know what he means.
You're doing great. Just focus here. What he says is for the judge, not for you.
Right,
You and I are having a conversation.
right.
You witnessed a letter being delivered to the elves of light, to the elven rangers of Elven. Yes? This letter then caused them to behave strangely. What did they do?
Objection. Prosecution is saying this letter caused them to. Improper
happened?
question. No foundation for it.
I will rephrase. What did they do after the letter was read to them?
So, if you want, I could just explain how it happened, and you let me say the whole thing, and then when I'm done,
Your Honor, objection. There has been no proof that whatever was the contents of the letter, which supposedly made people act in a particular way, originated with the defendant.
Sustained. You there, come here. Where's the letter? Can you confirm that that is Miss Ginley's handwriting?
yes, they're gonna leave.
Wonderful. Let us proceed then.
Your Honor, may we have the contents of this letter read verbatim, word for word.
Bailiff, if you'll read it out loud. Ella, Lightful, Henry.
Your Honor, this is but a fragment of a paper that has 3 words on it which do not contain the contents which the witness is trying to establish.
They were there, they were delightful, and then they grabbed them. They did not do this on top.
Objection. The witness is volunteering statement, not responding to a question I asked her for.
Sustained.
Not considered.
Your Honor, can I have 5 minutes to talk to my witness?
Alright, if I'm not doing this.
You're doing great.
Alright.
You have somebody else who's just very eager.
Objection. The witness is volunteering a statement, not responding to questions.
Please follow the questions.
I could ask her a question if I could have 5 seconds to ask. Simply, you witnessed, what did you witness? What did you witness with that letter? No pending question.
The events that I witnessed this night were a letter was taken by the elves of light, eventually given to world walkers, who eventually read it to Vayella and Reiner. Vayella and Reiner are behaving in one way. But upon the word delightful, in bread, changed everything about how they behave, and they grabbed Miss Kyra, and they pinned her down.
Objection.
Objection,
The
let her finish.
witness is not testifying to personal knowledge or observation.
She's
when
talking
she
about
said-
what she saw with her
Silence!
eyes.
When her testimony is that the letter, quote, caused.
What part of silence don't you understand?
I'm not sure if you're addressing me or the witness, Your Honor.
I was addressing the room.
Very good, Your Honor.
Upon further reviewing of this evidence, I'm afraid it is not enough, and the court will be throwing out this evidence.
Thank you, Sidney. No further questions.
held in contempt of court for threatening the defendant.
I said
Objection, you badgered the witness. Just let her go. Given that, does the previous statement of the slavery charge being dropped stand, Your Honor?
Indeed it does.
All right, on to incitement then. Prosecution would like to call Drake Kerrigan, Jonathan Drake Kerrigan to the stand.
Bailiff is gone. Put your right hand on the axe. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you, Cephas.
I do.
Take a stand.
Mr. Kerrigan, may I call you Drake?
All my friends do.
Thank you, sir. Drake, can you tell us about the incident? I'll phrase that, so I don't get an objection thrown in my face. Can you please tell us about the night in question involving the charge of incitement?
Yeah, I can. That was the town dance that Madame Daughtry, Madame Daughtry and the Grays decided to throw for the town, in which Gafford and Ginley were invited. At the time, there was a group of people who were, I guess, trying to save the town from the inside due to knowledge that the pies were bad. So the town gathered together in a dance, and 3 individuals, Mr. Sykes, myself, and Commander Iran, were all staged inside in order to bait out whatever the actual, the defendant, we're calling this game, your client? Defendant, thank you. Back west, we only have one means of law. So the dance took place. We all had a good time. We had 3 songs that were beautifully delivered by the minstrels and the bards. And Miss Ginley and Mr. Gafford then took the stand, if you will. They stood on one of the little stone ledges outside by the fires and addressed everybody in a means of what seemed like goodwill. And during her speech, the individuals in town who had ingested the pies immediately went rigid upon one word. And upon the second specific word, which was delighted, evermore we are delighted. So I guess it was a phrase, but it seemed to kick off at the end of delighted. The folks in town started acting like what would be, best way I can phrase it is the Nutcracker from the play The Nutcracker, the opera.
Can you be a little more, can you elaborate more on that? What do you mean by, tell us what their bodies is?
Oh, do you mind if I stand up and...
Go ahead. All right.
Yes.
So upon that word, they all went civil aboard. And then upon that second phrase, evermore we are delighted, it was just almost stiff as can be. At that time, me, Ron, and Sykes got up to run. Given that, I guess things went sideways on us, the Rangers, the Elven Rangers, the Methosian Rangers, if you will, started acting in a means that was extremely aggressive. They chased us extremely thoroughly through town. I don't know if you know this about them, but they're a little quick. They got caught up to us, they ambushed us, disarmed myself, and I ran.
So they attacked you?
Yes, sir. We ran to the fair. We dispatched the fair gardens, kind of took a left, in which they then went to assault Bartholomew, and you yourself stood in the way. And at the time, you confronted, I believe, Nightshade, and when it kind of came to dagger with him, he disarmed you. The elves got the upper hand on you, though you allowed Bartholomew to escape. Myself and Commander Aron then continued to signal the rest of the group that we had ready to, which was all means trying to stage an ambush. We were then cornered at the edge of town over by the burrows and the Celtic ruins, where we were then put into a tight spot where the entire town was facing us, as well as the Rangers and Mr. Gafford and Miss Ginley. The Wolves, myself, and Commander Aram, along with a few other folk, and I know I'm missing let's see, Ollie, Rowe, and my mistake, I can't seem to remember the rest. But there we were, lined up, backs to the wall, and at that time, Mr. Gafford made a speech, and they kept reacting to what seemed like commands, and then he broke your leg. And at that point, then we heard the drums of the Ulfdrath. As he came in, it seemed to break the hold that they had on the town. And Mr. Gafford and Miss Ginley then proceeded to leave town.
Thank you. So this incident, you being back to the edge of town, can you describe a bit more what the townsfolk were doing?
Yeah, as I kind of showcased earlier, they were moving in a very, very strict manner. But upon that, I'm going to demonstrate again. Upon them moving forward some more, you mind holding that for me? Thank you. They circled us, they surrounded us. I had my gun drawn, but I had Driner in front of me, and I didn't want to wing or take down anybody that wasn't a target.
So they backed you into a corner?
Correct. They circled up in kind of a semicircle, and then upon one word, they all kind of crossed arms, or locked arms. I can't quite remember in full, but then they dropped to their knees to create somewhat of a gate that we couldn't escape through. Thank you, ma'am.
Would you say that this was an act of violence?
From the townsfolk point of view, no. However, the Rangers did seem like it was a direct act of violence. The townsfolk did not seem to do any harm to anybody.
So the Rangers, the Elven Rangers, enacted the violence, but aided and blocked in by the rest of the town.
Correct.
And the rest of the town was incited by the speech given by Miss Ginley at the dance.
Objection, asking the witness to conclude that the incitement was caused by words spoken by Ms. Ginley other than other causes. It's a leading question beyond the ability of the witnesses, the scope of what the witnesses testified to.
Sustained. Allow me to rephrase. In your opinion, what led to the town acting erratically?
Objection. Mr. Drake's opinion is not the same as a fact that should be admitted into evidence, especially his conclusion of the charge as opposed to his personal knowledge.
Sustained. Mr. Kerrigan.
Yeah.
What do you do for work?
Well, I'm a Blackheart hunter.
What does a Blackheart hunter do?
The Blackheart hunter's job is to eradicate things of dark nature and magical entity.
So would you say that you deal with violence frequently?
I think you could call me a specialist in that regard.
So you would be qualified to then speak to the court on what violence looks like?
Well, I mean, you can probably ask anyone else in town, they'd probably say yes.
So in your specialist view, what happened after Mrs. Ginley's speech?
What happened after is that the town was taken over by magical means. Magical means ingested through the pies, which were then enchanted by the group at hand, the group in question, the Elves of Light, Miss Ginley, using, I heard it was light magic. Light magic stems from a price. that is unpaid and unknown. After they were enchanted, it seemed like it was caused through means of telekinesis. Telekinesis is a magical form that is used to operate someone's body through the means of their mind. So through that enchantment, it used as a tool into these pies, and it usually means there has to be a triggered scenario of sorts, which means that trigger would have been words inscribed into the intent of the magic placed upon the pies, in my specialist opinion.
Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Drake, thank you for your work.
I don't know if I can say you're welcome. I don't know exactly right.
Well, it's not pleasant, but it is necessary. And your work is to protect the innocent, correct?
Yes and no.
Is it not protecting the innocent, or is it the fact that it goes beyond protecting the innocent?
It goes beyond.
Goes beyond, all right. So, but your job is to protect, and that includes protecting the innocent.
Yes, sir.
And that includes making sure that nobody is falsely accused or falsely punished.
Yes, sir.
And in your testimony, you have established a chronology that when they heard a particular word, people reacted. Now, and you believe that was from black magic?
Not black magic, sir. Very distinct types of magic.
Very good, but the point is it was magically induced.
Yes.
All right. Now, it is possible for someone to be told, put it this way, it is possible for magic to use a trigger from an innocent person, is it not?
Correct.
So the person placing the magical command will typically not be the one who themselves provides the trigger. They wish to deflect the blame to someone else. Correct?
Again, you're either yes and no.
Objection.
That is common, correct?
Again, yes and no.
Well, if it's yes and no, that means sometimes it's common.
Objection. Circumstantial. Yes or no. Either way, circumstantial.
Stay.
You are aware that innocent people are used to trigger magic caused by someone else.
Yes.
All right. And the person that you saw attack Sykes to break his legs was Gafford.
Yes, sir.
And you are familiar with Gafford. You were there when he was tried and banished from Evermore, correct?
Yes, sir. I escorted him to the crossroads of this Ginley from the fort.
Yes.
And that's up now.
And you're aware that Gafford was found guilty, banished, and outside of Evermore, executed for his deeds in Evermore.
Under a wolf tribunal, yes.
Yes. All right. I'm not questioning the authenticity or the authority of that. The point is the fact that Gafford was committing acts of black magic that worked through other people, correct?
Again, not black magic.
Magic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Objection.
Magic
Mr.
that
Gafford isn't on trial. We're talking about Miss Ginley today.
Mr. Gafford, the court can take judicial notice of the fact that Gafford has been found guilty of using magical means to the detriment of the people of Evermore, to put it mildly.
Indeed, what is your point?
The point is that the fact that people may have reacted to a word spoken by the defendant is not the same as saying the defendant had caused them to act. It is merely establishing that that was by some person used as a triggering mechanism. That is the point. And the charge
Objection. Counsel is testifying, not the witness. Save it for your closing arguments.
I'm making a motion to the court.
We'll let you get on with it.
That is what I'm doing, and I thank you for the privilege of doing so, sir. The charge is inciting a riot. Incitement is a willful act causing a result of violence, as opposed to an innocent act that someone else has used as a signal to others. There is no proof of any act by Ms. Ginley that incited a riot, only that she uttered an innocent praise and was delighted to be here, which is certainly as common and innocent as they come.
You should come talk to Blackhawk sometime and talk to you about innocence.
I ask that this charge be dismissed.
The charge of incitement shall be dropped.
Thank you, Mr. Gregg. No further questions?
And I do thank you for your service to my brother, sir. Thank you.
Well, like I said, you're welcome, but I'm not exactly happy to do it. Prosecution calls Sir Thaddeus of the Knights of Evermore to stand.
Swear to maintain.
You swear and vow to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you set this.
Sir Thaddeus, can you tell the courtroom what is currently in your possession?
This is the arrow that was used to kill or maim the body that was formerly possessed by Stan.
Mr. Slaney, could you put it for the court state name again? Slaney. That is the murder weapon?
This is the one.
What?
This is the one. Aye.
Thank you. You'll submit that to the bailiff. Sir Thaddeus, there's currently within the Knights of Evermore currently possess a corpse, do they not?
They do.
And it is the corpse of that looks like that one?
It's the spitting image of him, aye.
And it was the corpse that arrow was found in?
Correct.
Where was it found?
I was found, so it looked like he had actually pulled it out near the opening of the catacombs underneath the mausoleum.
Thank you. No further questions.
So that is, you're aware of the time when this corpse was discovered at the mausoleum?
It was shortly after the Greek court, after I'd done the check on the altar.
And after the trial, which occurred previously, including Gafford and Ginley and so forth, the Knights had custody of Ms. Ginley, correct?
That is correct.
All right. At the time that this individual was killed, was Ms. Ginley in your custody?
She was.
Where was she? Was she in your sight?
Aye, she was in the paragraph. She was either in my sight or Sir Ron's sight the entire evening.
And did you see her kill somebody since you were watching her the entire evening?
No.
So whoever killed him was not the person that you were with, who was the defendant, Ms. Ginley.
Not to my understanding, not to Bennis Ginley.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Prosecution calls Kadarian to the stand.
You swear and vow to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you set this. Yes.
Hello, Kadarian. How are you?
I've been better.
Tell me, Kadarian, you perform magic, do you not?
I do.
What type?
Illusion primarily.
Good. An illusion magic. Is illusion magic capable of making it seem like someone's in two places at once?
In theory, yes.
It's possible.
Yes. It's very difficult, but it is possible.
Right? And to your knowledge, does Miss Ginley perform magic?
To my knowledge, she performs some kind of magic. I ate it. But illusion magic, I have no idea.
You have no idea. But she does, to your knowledge, perform magic, and it is possible to make someone appear like they're in two places at once.
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Just to be sure, sir, you have no knowledge that this very difficult magical skill is possessed by her.
Oh, no.
You have no knowledge. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you possess that skill?
Yes.
All right. And it's a very difficult skill, which speaks to your renown, sir.
Well, thank you for yes.
All right. So the fact fact that a difficult skill exists is not the same as saying she possesses it, correct?
No, that's not the same.
It's not the same. That is correct.
Yes, that is correct.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Nothing further.
Prosecution calls Splenavor to the stand. That, once again for us.
That's fine, David. You can call me Scott.
If you come to the stand.
Right hand. You swear to doubt the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you accept this.
I do.
Right.
Sir, would you tell us your name and where you're from?
I am Svanleifr Desia then, one of the Frost Lords of Aurora.
Objection is dead.
Is it true that you were attacked?
It is true, yes.
Could you tell us about the events of that night?
Well, I was rather...
Of the attack?
The attack itself, yes. Very well. But I was looking around in the catacombs. Two were led by the very gracious postmaster, Sir Philip Humphrey, and I was a little caught up in my admiration of the architecture of the place and of the catacombs in particular. And I am afraid I was caught off guard, and an arrow was in my chest.
Did you know who did that to you?
I suspect it to be Ginley.
Objection, suspicion, and knowledge are two different things.
What I observed and experienced was that it was Ginley.
Objection, experience, and knowledge and observation. Again, he's testifying to opinion, not to facts.
Experience and knowledge are...
That is opinion.
Experience is based on the senses.
Did you
and I
witness
can explain it.
that woman present during the attack?
Yes,
Did she attack you?
that is what I experienced. That is what I saw.
Thank you. Now, do you have any idea as to why she would want to harm you and kill you?
Well, I can speculate on the motive, considering what we had. Perhaps it could be considered to some as betrayal. That they would rush to us, Gatwick and Ginley in particular, would rush to us for some sort of protection after what their retaliation they experienced.
So is it true that you brought Miss Ginley back to Evermore?
Yes.
And turned her over to the town of Evermore for her crimes?
Yes.
Now, seeing that you are still standing here present today, could you elaborate on perhaps why she might want to kill you? Did she know that you have the ability to come back to life, however that is?
It is only knowledgeable by very close associates of ours, and she was not one of them.
So she didn't know that?
Yes,
And
nobody
yet
in
she
the
tried
world.
to kill you?
Yes.
No further questions?
What is your full title as well as your full name, sir?
Ashton Svanleifr Desia.
And full title?
Yes, it is possible.
Are there Frost Lord what again, please?
Ashton.
Ashton.
Yes.
Does that have a meaning?
It is the equivalent of Frost Lord as we say. Lord?
It's like saying Lord twice.
Yes, Lord.
Very good. All right. And are the Frost Lords the rulers of Aurora? You are the rulers of Aurora. For how long?
Over a decade.
For over a decade. And were you preceded by this king and queen who have been mentioned in court previously?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you rule Aurora. You live in a palace, castle, something such as that. All right. You have servants.
Yes.
All right. You have vassals, people with fealty to you, who have their loyalty to you as their lord.
Yes.
All right. And they obey your commands.
Yes.
They do. What are the consequences if they disobey?
The consequences vary depending on what the law says.
I see. What is the most severe of the consequences?
The most
disobedience can be death. All right? Now, you say you observed Ms. Ginley, and you heard the testimony of Sir Thaddeus that Ginley was with him at that time. Yes. Now, are you familiar with magic, sir?
Yes, I am.
All right. Is magic used with regularity in Aurora?
Indeed it is.
All right. Do you have magical abilities yourself?
I do, sir.
You do, including the ability to come back to life.
Yes.
How many times have you exercised that ability?
Have to within more than 20 times.
More than 20 times. See? And would you give us a description of your other magical powers?
Objection, relevance.
Your Honor, we're claiming that magic was involved in his murder. It is pertinent to know what are his magical skills.
Stab an arrow in him, that's not magic.
He claims he saw someone, but there's testimony was actually someplace else. And you have adduced the testimony that some people have certain magical skills, though not Ms. Ginley. So I'm asking about his magical skills.
I've already established that she has magical skills by the Elves of Light previous testimony.
Your Honor, the question is his magical skills. That was the question for the witness.
Objection, relevance.
I've established the relevance.
Please state your magical skills and be quick about it.
Well, it is primarily manipulation of the water elements.
Wonderful.
Anything else?
Oh, you dabble here and there, of course. Illusion would not be one of them.
Illusion is not one of them. Are there illusionists within Aurora?
Certainly.
Certainly. And they are part of your kingdom, as it were, of Aurora, that you rule over. You have illusionists who are subject to your command, correct?
Yes, I would not call them primarily illusionists.
All right, but they may not be primarily illusionists, but they are illusionists who are subject to your command, and your commands could be punishable by death if they are not obeyed, correct? Very good. Thank you. No further questions.
Prosecution rests.
Wonderful. We will hear our closing statements beginning with the defense.
I have witness to present, Your Honor.
Be quick about it.
Ms. Ginley? Ms. Ginley?
Objection, swearing.
Certainly.
Please. John, right hand.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you said this.
Ms. Ginley, we have heard testimony that Mr. I hope I do not pronounce the name incorrect, Mr. Ginley, Ross Lord Ginley, saying he was killed with an arrow. Did you do it?
No, sir.
You know when it was alleged that it was done. Where were you at that time?
I was with the knights.
Do you have the ability to create magical illusions?
No, I don't.
Now, you also have been accused of different things, which charges have been dismissed. They're not before the jury. The only charge before at the moment is murder of a living person. Now, what is your wish regarding yourself and your relationship with Evermore?
May I say a few words?
That's my question.
As I have been here in Evermore, I've noticed that this lately, as I've mentioned before, is a time of questioning and has caused me to also question myself. And I ask questions of you, one of which is, can someone be force-fed who is asking to be fed? And also, have you ever had to choose between the lesser of two evils? And have you ever had to choose
regardless of what offenses you may have committed in Aurora. You are only accused now of one offense here in Evermore, a charge of murder. Now, are you familiar with the Frost Lords in Aurora?
Yes.
You've heard the testimony of one of them that disobedience to their commands can be punishable by death. Have you had personal conflict with the Frost Lords seeking to command you? And did they make any threats against you?
Yes.
What were the threats? Simplify, if you would, please.
Well, as they mentioned, death.
You are aware of offenses committed by the Frost Lords in Aurora.
Objection, relevance.
It is relevant, Your Honor.
Saying it's relevant doesn't make it relevant. Explain.
It goes to the motivation of the Frost Lords to frame my client.
Continue.
The offenses by the Frost Lords in Aurora, of which you are aware, would you give a quick explanation of those?
They rule.
Were you threatened by them?
Yes.
Do you have knowledges of offenses by them which involved taking of other people's lives?
Yes.
And are you aware that they have magical abilities, including the ability personally or by commanding use of illusions?
I believe so.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Witness is yours, Mr. Sykes.
No questions.
You are excused. The defense will continue with the closing statements by the defense.
Defense, rest, and I do ask that the murder charge be dismissed because the alleged victim is here in the courtroom, alive and breathing.
Objection, a body has been established.
We do have a body, so we will continue with the charge.
We also have a live person. Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Ginley, as a subject in Aurora, committed offenses there where she was subject to the rule and command of the Frost Lords, who brought her to Evermore, who accused her of murdering one of their own, which was an easy thing to frame if you can make yourself look dead and you're not really dead, because you've done it 20 times before. But if you're trying to establish yourselves in Aurora, not in Aurora, but in Evermore, and look beneficent, as opposed to tyrants who threaten people with death for disobedience, then if you have someone from Aurora who's a witness of that, what easier way than, hey, I can die and I can really die and come back, I can create the illusion. But Sir Thaddeus, where is his motivation? Having continuous, not just momentary, but continuous observation of Miss Ginley. Having had her placed in the care of the knights It's not like, well, let's check in the room and see if someone's still there. They do some sort of trick or substitution. It's constant observation. It's not a trick or an illusion. The trick or the illusion is, hey, I can die, frame someone for my death, make them look guilty, and bring this charge. We've seen the series of dismissal of charges that were based upon false accusations. Well, because she uttered some word that somebody else had used as a signal. That sort of stuff. Ms. Ginley has testified clearly she didn't do it. The Frost Lord, who has command of illusionists, says, oh, I did, but, you know, she didn't really kill me. It's a pretty simple case in that sense. I'm not here to say Ginley never did anything wrong, especially in Aurora. She wants to be a functioning, contributing part of this community of Aurora, which she attempted to testify to. But it's for you to decide. How does she kill someone who's not dead? So, I ask you to bring back a verdict of not guilty. And I also, as other people with caution, have to say, beware of what else the Frost Lords might be doing. As Kyra came back from Aurora and has sought to warn you. I rest.
Thank you, Mr. Sykes. Make your closing statements, so please keep it short.
My best, Your Honor. I'm going to use the chair for obvious reasons. I'll be honest with all of you. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing in this chair right now. I don't know why I'm sitting here. I don't know why I'm the prosecution. Apparently I'm the only one qualified. Well, we can all see how well that played out. But here's what I can tell you. I am sick and tired of people coming into Evermore and hurting our people, my friends, our town. I'm sick of seeing them get hurt as well. I don't wish her any ill will. I don't care. I've come to terms with it and come to peace with what's happened to me in my leg. I don't hold it against her. I have no vendetta, no axe to grind. That's his job. How do you kill someone who isn't dead? How do you convict someone of murder when the person is still walking around? Well, quite frankly, I don't know how either. The laws of the Queen and of this land have failed us. There's no precedence for this. A man was killed. There is a corpse. There is a body. We all know that magic is real. The people making the laws, they don't. All of you have seen magic with your own eyes, and you know that it's real. And you can look into your hearts and you can feel that it's real. There are some things we just don't know. In our knowledge, we are in our infancy. But our knowledge here at Evermore of magic surpasses what the Crown knows about magic and how to make laws. I don't care what kind of people they are. That's not what's at contest. Just because they may have to be doing things in Aurora that we're not quite fond of doesn't mean they deserve to be attacked on our soil. That's no way to build relations. But you want to know the real reason why? I would like to ask each and every one of you to bring back a conviction of guilty. It's because if you find her not guilty, she will walk out of this building and I cannot guarantee her safety. As a representative of this town, there are no preventative measures that I can take, no protection that I can offer her to keep her safe from what will happen.
Objection to improper. Claiming that she is safer if she is guilty.
Once again, I don't know what I'm doing. But if you walk out, if she walks out those doors, I don't know what's going to happen to her, and I don't want her to die. She's expressed guilt and remorse and a desire to grow, and I can't guarantee that for her if she leaves. We treat them with respect. We'll help them. We'll help them find a place in society once again. I ask you to give us the chance. Find her guilty. Let us then work with her to become a functioning member of society once again. Thank you.
We will now give the jury some time to come to a verdict. Before I let you free, there is no precedent for this. So I ask you to come back with a conviction and a verdict, but also a suggestion of punishment. This does not mean that will be the punishment that is observed. However, I invite you to give one nonetheless.
Objection. Your Honor has asked the jury to come back with a conviction, which is absolutely improper.
Well, guess what? It's overruled.